All right, welcome to the stage, seven-time champion Jimmie Johnson. And we will dive right in because, as we said, we have 10 minutes with each of our principals today. So if you'll raise your hand, one of our mic runners will get to you. And it looks like kicking off the media tour will be Holly Kane.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Good morning, Jimmie.
Morning.
Want to ask you a question probably a lot of people have for you, but a change in the way the championship is decided. This is something you've become accustomed to. Maybe you could just speak a little bit about that and what that's been. You're the only seven-time champion that's had to do it so many different times.
Sure. I mean,
or ways. I'm
so
sorry.
many different ways. I guess the championship piece, we still get to Homestead, and it's very similar for that event itself. How you get there is a bit different. The big takeaway I have is, when you put all the smart people in the room and let everybody decide what it could look like and what it should look like, from TV, owners, NASCAR, driver representation, I think that's a smart move. And I feel that knowing our environment, knowing how to take the best from each of those folks in the room, all the major stakeholders, and come up with this system, I have a lot of faith in that. I'm excited that everybody took the time to put their heads together, and another couple takeaways for me is it's all about winning, finishing the best that you can. And it doesn't matter if it's the duels, if it's what it is. There's incentive to go out there and perform. As a competitor, it's tough to say that that's going to change much of what I do. But I know there will be opportunities where that point matters for someone. We're at 100% in those cars, and I know we try to articulate that all the time, and some get it, some don't. But it might take people from being at the 100% mark to making them a little bit more desperate in given situations and create more storylines. So, I feel that there's been a lot of time and effort and serious thought put into this, and it touches a lot of areas that needed to be addressed in our sport right now and the way things are evolving.
Let's go right here.
Jordan Bianchi, SBNation.com. Jimmie, do you feel your popularity with fans is starting to change a little bit? And, you were once booed a lot, now you're starting to get more cheers?
Yeah, I think when a driver has enough gray in his beard, the fans kind of let you off the hook a little bit. So there's been a shift over the last 2 or 3 years, for sure. Homestead, and even before we won the race in the championship, they introduced us on stage, and there was a much larger roar than I anticipated hearing. So I guess I've earned my spot now after 15 seasons and the 7 championships. Well, at that point, 6 championships, but I think tenure plays a big role in it.
So all you had to do was grow older?
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Congrats. Let's go in the back here. Lee?
Jimmie, it seems every time that you win a championship, the format changes. But on the other side of that, there doesn't seem to be teams that I would say adapt as quickly as the 48 does. And you guys have the kind of team that can go out and win every practice and win qualifying and then go win the race. Are you guys going to take a similar tack to this format?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that you have any option with the way the format's laying out. We all know how important points are, and in the new format, there are 2 opportunities to earn points before the traditional moment in time. So qualifying's been tough for us. We might leave points on the table in that first segment because our qualifying isn't where we want it to be, and it's just not one of my natural things, one of my natural strengths. So it's going to force people to be more aggressive and more competitive in some situations, not all, but in some situations, and I don't see any downside in that. Yeah, I'm not bigger than NASCAR. There's no way that they're changing rules based on the 48. The sport's a lot bigger than one person.
All right, we'll go to Jenna, then Bob, and then back over to Tom.
Jennifer at AP, I have 2 non-racing questions for you. We're used to you with the beard. You seem to be channeling Dale Jr.'s old beard. I'm wondering, is this about Aspen, and what are you doing there? Because the article out of Colorado said that you've moved there and the kids are in school there. Is that a full-time thing?
No, it's not full-time, and yes, I feel very normal in Aspen with a beard like this. I came home and quickly had sticker shock or some kind of insecurity issues going with it. mainly because everybody's like, whoa, who is that? But we're not there full time. We're there for the winter. With the West Coast races, it works to be out there. Chad and Rick are both very much in favor of me living life and trying to find that balance of being in a place I really enjoy in the mountains. It's so great for me and my family. So I'll be there for the start of the season, but be back in Charlotte and back to the normal grind. Kind of, I guess, early spring, late winter.
Second question is, how'd you get Snoop to play your party?
Just started making phone calls. We had him play the Super Skins event that Nick Lachey and I used to put on that was before the Super Bowl. So we had a contact there, and I worked on it for that whole week leading into the banquet and had a hard time getting to him, and I finally did on Thursday, and he made it happen. And he got up there and blew blew everybody's mind that was in the room.
Bob?
Bob Parker, ESPN. What do you think will be the impact on your pit crew with this new system? Just the fact that early pit stops now will be as much pressure as late pit stops.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the mindset of you've got 500 miles to get there, or 400 miles, whatever the race distance is, it doesn't benefit, mistakes on pit road. There's more to lose from poor qualifying and poor pit stops. More consistent qualifying, more consistent pit stops are key. But the trick is to go fast in qualifying and be consistently up front, you got to lay it on the line. And then the pit stops, if you're not in that 11-second bracket at worst, then you're going the wrong direction. So it's requiring everybody to execute on a much higher level more consistently. It's going to be tough.
Tom?
Hi, Jimmie. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Do you have less pressure on you this year because you've already got the 7th championship to tie the record, or more because you're going for the 8th?
I'm really content with where I'm at and happy with where I'm at, so I guess less pressure. I truthfully have felt like there hasn't been a lot of pressure on me through 6 and 7 because I never thought I'd have 1 to start with. When we won the 5 in a row and then lost that 6th, there was a weight taken off me then that I've mentioned to all of you before, and I've been able to expand on that more and more each year. I feel a larger responsibility in being a real leader at Hendrick Motorsports and being there for my teammates and team members. I feel a stronger calling for being involved in the Drivers' Council and a part of NASCAR and trying to help the sport. Absolutely, I'm showing up to win races and championships, but I feel almost more pressure to handle that part correctly than I do to go out and win an 8th. Some of that could be that with Chad Knaus running your race team, most of the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and you're in good shape. And I know that side. I'm starting my 16th season. But I'm trying really hard to not let that pressure be on me. I want a balanced life from professional or personal life, and the pressure of a professional life can really affect your personal life. So it's there. It shows up if you want it or not, and I'm just trying to manage it and have a good time through it all.
All right, we got about a minute left. Let's go over here real quick.
Yeah, George Diaz, Orlando Sentinel. Jimmie, obviously with Dale, with the concussion issues last year, and then Carl mentioning it as part of his farewell speech, if you will, has the safety aspect and the long-term consequences, that kind of weigh a little bit more on you these days, or how do you process, the potential safety issues inside a car?
Yeah, we all process it and deal with it differently. I've firmly believed since I was a young kid watching other racers that the day you're thinking about it is the day you need to step down. And that shows up at a different point in time for all competitors. And it hasn't entered my mind. And so I'm still in the seat and still going. I do also feel that we've made some amazing headway in driver safety and concussion-related injuries. And at least the way I process and internalize it, I'm good with where I'm at right now. That could change someday, and I want to be very aware of it. And do what's right for me and my family, and certainly for Carl, that's part of the decision for him. And then so happy to have Junior back. Of course, his safety is a top priority for me and probably everybody else, but he's on a journey to come back, and we're going to have him back.
Well, Jimmie, thanks for sharing some time with us here today. Have a great season.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Jimmie Johnson. All right, please welcome to the stage also from Hendrick Motorsports, the driver of the number 24, Chase Elliott. And we will go directly to questions from the floor, so raise your hands and we'll get a runner to you as fast as possible.
Greg Engel, CupScene.com. Good morning, sir. Thanks for coming in. Yesterday, one of the more iconic sponsors in NASCAR, one of the old school, Hooters came on board. I mean, you pay homage to all your sponsors, and everybody's got their own thing. But how much fun was it taking all this publicity stills with that sponsor and talk about that, because they don't necessarily show up with a bunch of oil filters and a yard gnome?
Well, it's definitely one I wasn't going to turn down, that's for sure. I had a lot of fun with it, and they're certainly a fun group of people. Not just the brand, but the group of people that they have to work with behind the scenes were easy to work with, great to work with. Had a lot of fun. Got to stare. Didn't get to eat, but got to stare at a lot of chicken wings yesterday, which was tough, which is probably good that I didn't eat them. I need to get back in the gym, but it was a lot of fun. I'm excited to have them on board. I know their history with Alan Kawicki is long, and him and my dad had obviously a great championship battle there. Was it 92? Is that right? So that's obviously kind of ironic to see that, but very cool, I think. I know my dad had a lot of respect for Alan and what he did, and both my parents do. So I think it's pretty neat to carry the Hooters colors this year. Looking forward to that. Definitely something different, and like I said, something to be excited for.
Might be the first time in history somebody said they went to Hooters and stared at the chicken wings. Let's go over here.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
Kenny Bruce from NASCAR.com. Chase, I know if you haven't been asked, you're going to be asked a million times about sophomore jinx. What do you feel like? Do you feel like you guys are going to be able to carry momentum from last year in to this year, or are you guys starting from scratch and going to have to rebuild and get back to that point to where you were running as well as you were?
I mean, you hope that you can just kind of continue forward and not look at it as year two or look at it as from that perspective. I think you just kind of have to go about it as a new season, and as boring of an answer as that is, I think that's how you have to approach it. You have to kind of see the challenges as they come. One thing I'm excited about, which I haven't had in the past few years, is having the same crew chief for 2 years in a row. I haven't had that, which I'm excited about. I really enjoyed working with Alan last year, and I think he is. I think he's one of the best, in my opinion. I know everybody says that about their crew chiefs, but I'm pretty confident in that, and he does a great job. I think he's very underrated in what he does and just how hard he works at trying to make our race team go. So I think for us, just about starting another year, trying to improve upon areas that we wanted to get better in, or areas that we struggled in, areas I struggled in, and also trying to improve the areas we thought we succeeded in, and kind of keeping it as simple as that.
Now let's go back over here, and then we'll go up here to Joe Menzer.
Chase, do you feel like any extra pressure? You seem to be the one young guy who some of the old school fans and all gravitate to, that to have more success here in the next 2 or 3 years.
What was your exact question on that?
Do you feel extra pressure on yourself, because you are sort of the guy that seems like the old school fans really do gravitate to?
Oh, yeah, I really don't feel extra pressure from that standpoint. I mean, I think for me, I just want to be me and try to keep things as straightforward as I can. I try not to be a very complicated person. I like to keep things as simple as possible, and just try to be myself. So I certainly appreciate the support we've had. It was, just incredible to see some of that last year. And Darlington stands out in my mind. We went there and just saw a bunch of 24 gear, new 24 gear at that, which goes a long way. And as I've said before, it doesn't go unnoticed, and that does mean a lot. So I certainly appreciate that support. But obviously, you hope people support you for who you are and for no other reason. And I hope that's the way it is for me. I'm just trying to be myself there.
Matt Weaver, Auto Week. You and Erik Jones have raced each other kind of sporadically over the years, late models, Xfinity, trucks, but never really full-time. This is the first year, your second year, his rookie season. But I've seen some races where the two of you are involved that it seems like there's a bit of a rivalry. When one of you beats the other, there's a lot of emotion on the other side, the losing side. From your perspective, is there a rivalry between you and Erik?
Not that I really know of. I never had a problem with Erik or anything from that side. So I think he's a great race car driver, and I think he's done a really good job over the years with late model racing. I've raced him a handful of times, not a ton. I know we went up north to race a good bit around the Michigan area. He was always up there, and then I think there towards the end when he was starting to race for Kyle, he started venturing south and run a lot of races around the southeast. So like I said, I think he does a great job, and I think he's going to do a good job this year. He's in a good car with a good team, and he's certainly proven over the years that he has what it takes to succeed. So I don't see that changing now.
Let's go right here.
Joe Menzer, FoxSports.com. Chase, I saw an interview you did recently where you said that one of the things that surprised you at the Cup level was all the time you spent at the track, and sometimes you'd show up and you guys would do so many different adjustments, you end up out in left field. Could you talk a little bit about how that was and how that surprised you and what you're going to do to combat that this year?
Yeah, I don't know that it is necessarily surprising, and I just think it's easy. It can be easy to do if you're not careful, and I think that extra day at the racetrack, from racing on Saturdays, having Sundays off, only being there for a couple days on track to being there for on track Friday, Saturday, and Sunday does make a bigger difference than you would think, and just so much practice time. I mean, we have a ton of practice time throughout the week. From your practice on Friday to qualifying Friday night, you got time to think about it Friday night, then practice again on Saturday, and then you got time to think about it after practice, and then go race on Sunday. So I think sometimes you have to kind of step back and realize that the setup, the car, your mentality coming into the race weekend, 9 times out of 10, you have the most confidence in that when you get there, and it's easy to steer away from that, and I feel like steer yourself off track. So just being mindful of what you came with and try not to get yourself too messed up, from a setup perspective or finding something new from a driving side. It's just easy to do when you have that much track time throughout a weekend. You hear it, and like I said, it's easy to do when you're there so much, but you can certainly mess yourself up if you're not careful.
All right, let's go back to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Chase, for a kid who grew up on simulators and video games, do you think changing the format will help attract a younger audience whose attention span may not be as lengthy as the traditional, more mature race fan?
Well, like I said before, I'm all about keeping things simple. The way I see it is, if I go and watch something, I watch it because I find it entertaining, as I would hope that people would when they watch races. So if it's going to make it more entertaining, that's great. I don't think it really matters what audience you're trying to go for. If the race is more entertaining, I think it's going to attract more people, and I certainly think this format has the ability to do that. I think it's going to add some strategy plays throughout the race. I think it's probably unfair for us to think that it's just going to change how we race. I think we're all trying really hard as is. But I do think it's going to add another level of strategy and certain things as to how you want to approach your race, whether you want to win a segment or position yourself for the next round. So, as we go through a race, you were probably going to see cautions anyway as the day went on, the way it sat last season. So if you're leading the race, why not be rewarded for it is kind of the way I look at it. So it's 2 cautions that reward points, and I don't really see it as being a whole lot more than that. So I think it's fine, and I think it'll add a whole other level of strategy and maybe some more plays on pit road.
All right, we got time for one more question for Chase right here.
Darren McFadden, NBC Sports. You mentioned in a previous answer you noticed an increase of fans wearing your 24 gear last year. How aware were you of the shift in fans wearing Jeff Gordon 24 gear, like the beginning of the season, to yours towards the end of it?
Well, I mean, it's hard to really keep up unless you just go stare at people in the grandstands. But Darlington, for whatever reason, I don't remember why it was we were driving out of the track after the race, and we were sitting in traffic, and they were letting people cross, and I happened to see a big group of people. I think that's why that stood out in my mind. But as the year went on, I guess you did see a little more of the newer 24 stuff, which I thought was really cool to kind of see some of that. I'm perfectly cool with seeing Jeff Gordon gear too, so just been good to me, and obviously has a great fan base who still enjoys going to the races, and new or old 24 gear I'm happy with, so either way.
Well, Chase, thank you for your time. Good luck with the rest of the media tour here.
Thank you, guys.
Chase Elliott. All right, please welcome to the stage Erik Jones. Good to have you here. Pretty exciting times for you, isn't it? Starting brand new, fresh.
Yeah, it is. It's an exciting season with a new group of guys, a new team. Not anything new for me. It seems like every year I'm with a new team, but it's exciting to be with a group that had such a successful 2016 to come into the Cup Series with and start a new team, and a team that's really on the rise and is growing, and pretty cool to start a team with them.
All right, raise your hands, please, and our runners will try to get to you as quick as possible. Let's go right here. We'll start with Bob and then cross the table, and then we'll get to Matt.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Under the old point system, as a rookie, you could kind of ease your way in and know if you were top 30 and got a win late, you'd be in. With this new system, it changes a little bit. Does that change your approach or your thoughts about what would be successful this year?
Yeah, I think it does. I think last year, really all throughout my career, I've been a little bit of a, all or nothing, checkers or wreckers kind of driver. And really the format last year I thought played into my hand. And it did up until the time the chase actually started, and I realized you had to be consistent in 3 races, which we did, and we made it all the way to Homestead. And I think it's definitely different this year. You have to position yourself to get the best possible finish you can in every segment and rack up those bonus points to get to the chase. And at the end of the day, the more bonus points you have, the better position you're in to make it at Homestead.
Jordan Bianchi, SBNation.com. Erik, you're one of the first drivers, part of the Young Toyota Driver Program to reach Cup. When you entered that program, did you have the expectation, was it laid out for you that, hey, this is the path for you and we're going to get you there if you have this success?
Heck no. When I joined KBM in 2013, at that time, Toyota was, heavily invested into our sport, but they didn't really have a driver development program like they do now. It was me and it was Darrell Wallace at the time at KBM. But KBM had never won a race with anybody but a Cup driver at that time. That's a piece that I think a lot of people forget. So Darrell and I were there together, and obviously Toyota did a lot for me and has done a lot for me all the way up until that point. But there was never a time, especially early on, that they were like, hey, this is our plan, this is where you're going. I was along for the ride, trying to win as many races as I could and hoping that they would stick with me.
All right, we've got a couple of questions right here, Matt, and then we'll go to Kelly.
Matt Weaver, AutoWeek.com. I just asked the same question to Chase, but having followed both of you kind of from the beginning to today, y'all haven't raced each other a lot in NASCAR, but over the year, or in the Cup Series rather, Xfinity, but certainly late models, you guys have kind of had a bit of a rivalry. There have been races where one of you would beat the other, and there was a lot of emotion on the losing side. As you now go to your Cup career and get to race him more, from your perspective, is there kind of a rivalry, a friendly one between you two?
I guess there sort of was at the late model level, just because of the sense we were always racing each other so much growing up, and we were always at the same races, always at the same big races. I don't know if it'll carry over into the Cup Series. It was always a friendly rivalry. It's not like we were out there wrecking each other. We were just always racing each other hard, and we were upset when we lost. I think we both share that quality. Neither of us like to lose, and neither of us want to lose to each other. So I think at that time, especially, we felt like we were competing against each other a little bit. Each young guy trying to burst onto the scene in NASCAR, and we both wanted to run better than the next guy. So. I think it'd be good for the Cup Series if we're running up front and running together. I'd love that. I think that'd be great. I think it'd be great for the sport, and I hope we're up front challenging for wins with him.
All right, we'll go to Kelly over here, and then over to Tyler.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Eric, you mentioned in your opening that it seems like every year you're with a different team, and certainly the last couple of years you've been in many different cars with many different teams. While you've been successful in each of those, do you feel like moving around that much and working with so many different people has hindered you in any way?
I don't know if it's hindered me, but it's definitely made it more challenging. I hope I can build a group here at Furniture Row, a group of guys that I'm with for a long time. I've never had that chance really anywhere throughout my career, in late models, in trucks, Xfinity, anything. So I've never had a chance really to work with a group of guys more than 1 year. Trucks I did a little bit. I worked with them for 2 years, and we were able to win the championship there. But for the most part, it's been a new group of guys, new crew chief, every year, which is challenging, especially for a young driver. Just try to get to know them for, it seems like the first half of the year until you can really gel and get to work together well.
Zachatan's already front stretch, kind of tying into that. This is your third straight different championship format you've had to adjust to. So, what are the difficulties of adjusting to 3 different formats and 3 different series at such a young age?
Yeah, it's been. I never even thought about that, but yeah, the Truck Series, my first year running for the championship was the traditional points format. Last year was obviously the Chase. Implemented it into the Xfinity Series. Now we have the new playoff format and the segment format here in the Cup Series. So, yeah, it's very different. Obviously, growing up, the only points format I knew was a very traditional points format. And now being in the Cup Series, it's different. But I think it's pretty well understood by the drivers. I understand it well enough to know what I need to do. But, yeah, there's a different mentality, I think, for each points format that I've had to adjust to each year. So it's challenging, but as a driver, I think we all adapt pretty quick and just run the best we can every week.
Over here.
Tyler Burnett, Motor Racing Network. Eric, when Carl announced he was retiring before the season, it was a bit of surprise to everyone. And before you announced you were coming into the Cup Series this year, you really were kind of the guy that were going to come in for Gibbs this year to race in the Cup Series or potentially when the next ride was open. When you first heard that Suarez was coming in and Carl was out, what was your initial reaction?
I was just really surprised. We were all surprised as anybody. The drivers, we didn't hear until Sunday night. And I remember when I was first told, they were explaining that, yeah, Carl's going to retire. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like this is his last year. Okay, that's cool. And they're like, no, he's retiring now. He's retiring on Wednesday. And I'm like, oh, all right. Well, yeah, cool. Good for him. But, it didn't change anything for me, honestly. We had our operation set up at Furniture Row, and I think we've got a solid team built over there.
So we're not getting a retirement announcement from you this week?
No, not this week.
All right. Good enough.
Hopefully in like 25 years, maybe.
All right, thanks. Let's go in the back here.
Adam Femick from Speed Sport Magazine. Obviously, you came up in the late model ranks, and you've announced you're going to run a late model race next week at Speedfest. Can we expect any additional late model races this year? I know, obviously, your schedule is going to be just a little packed running the Cup Series.
It's pretty busy. And I'll have some Xfinity races on there, too, that are going to keep me pretty busy. But I've got one more planned out in California for the Winter Showdown here in a few weeks, which is exciting. That's a race I've wanted to run for the last few years. I'd love to go run the Oxford 250. But got to see how the schedule plays out. We've kind of played it by ear the last couple of years with my late model races, and probably be about the same this year.
Okay, right here.
Dale McFadden with NBC Sports. What kind of conversations have you had with Martin Truex Jr. in this offseason to prepare yourself for being on this stage in the Cup Series full-time for the first time, and how's your relationship developing?
We haven't had a chance to talk a whole lot in the offseason. I hadn't talked to Martin much before we announced this deal back at Watkins Glen here, and I think that relationship will grow here as we get closer to the season and we all get back into the racing mode. I'd love to talk to him about transitioning into the Cup Series more, and obviously he went through the same thing coming up from the Xfinity ranks. So, I'd love to hear from him, and I think it's going to be a good relationship. I think Martin will be a great teammate. He's obviously worked as a teammate before. And I think for Furniture Row, it's going to be beneficial just to have 2 cars at the racetrack. They do get the technical alliance from JGR, but having 2 cars and having that 1 extra car information is pretty important. So it should be good.
All right, got time for one more question here.
Alan Cavano, Fox Sports. Eric, we just heard Chase Elliott talk about his rookie year,
how the length of a Cup weekend kind of took him by surprise. Have you sought out anyone for any particular advice about what to expect year one and the challenge it can be?
I haven't particularly yet. I've talked to Kyle a little bit about it. But yeah, it's going to be a busy weekend. It's going to be a big change. I'm fortunate that I've had a few times 3 races in the Cup Series back in 2015 to at least get my feet wet. Unfortunately, those races were all double and triple duty, so I don't know what a normal Cup weekend brings. But I had a chance to get my feet wet, which is nice. It's going to be a big change. The competition is just so much higher. In the Xfinity Series, there was times where we'd go to the racetrack and we'd fire off our first run of practice. We'd be 2/10 faster than second place, and it's like, dang, that's crazy. But you don't see that in the Cup Series. You don't see guys that are even a 10th better than second place. So that's a big change. But I'm fortunate to be with a team that was fast all year, and that's positive for me as a rookie. You need fast race cars to go fast, and I know we'll have that.
All right, Eric, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck in your rookie campaign in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. Have practice.
That's right.
So
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Erik Jones. Driver number 78, Martin Truex Jr. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah,
by.
great to be here today.
All right, we're going to go straight to the floor here. So raise your hands and keep them up for a little bit so our runners can spot you, and we'll try to get to as many folks as possible. Ashley is sprinting right now. So.
Hey, Martin, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. How do you think things are going to change this year now that Furniture Row's got a second car?
I thought there'd be started off with a different topic today, but I think we're all excited about it. I don't know how much things will change. I think we're all optimistic that it won't change a whole lot, and that's kind of been the goal. Cole and our guys have been, really a big part of the process of finding the people for the 77 team, helping kind of put that team together in hopes that it'll keep the overall mindset and work ethic the same as what we've had. So I don't know that it'll change a whole lot. At least, going in, we're hoping it doesn't. We're hoping it just adds to, adds positives to our program, and we have more good people to lean on and more things to build off of to continue to move our team forward. We've grown a lot in the last 2.5, 3 years, and hopefully it just continues in an upward direction.
Let's go over here to Lewis.
Lewis Frank of Reuters, to your left. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
In that same vein, you got 2 more young guns now in Toyotas. More information or more competition for you?
Well, it's always both, I guess. I mean, it's always, you try to use all that information and kind of put it all together, and then it's competition on the racetrack. We all race each other as hard as we race everybody else on the racetrack and try to go for those wins and be up front each and every weekend. So it's a little bit of both. It's exciting, I think, always to get a young, fresh perspective on a lot of things. And I think for me personally, especially with Erik being, in-house team car, just giving back a little bit of what I've been given from other teammates in the past, veteran teammates. Guys like Mark Martin, Dale Jr., Michael Waltrip, that I kind of came up through the ranks racing with. So I'm a little bit on the other side of that, for the first time in my career. So that's going to be fun, and it's exciting for me, and looking forward to it.
Let's go right here to Darren.
Dale McFadden with NBC Sports. With Erik Jones coming into his first full-time season, what do you remember about the months or weeks leading up to the 2006 season, which was your first full-time season? Like, what weighed on your mind then, and who did you turn to for advice in that time period right before that?
If I remember, I was pretty relaxed, really, about it all, and had a lot of confidence coming off 2 Xfinity championships, and boy, was I woke up quick. It was a lot more difficult than I anticipated, than I expected. When we did it, we came up and we moved our whole Xfinity team up to the Cup Series, and it was a big step. So we were definitely surprised by a lot of things. I'm sure it's still the same today. Coming from that level to the Cup Series is just a huge jump that you really can't be prepared for until you get a taste of it. So, for these guys, Eric's had some seat time in the Cup cars. He's got a little bit of a taste of it, so I think he's probably a little more familiar. Daniel's going to be surprised probably a little bit more. But all in all, they are both talented drivers, and I look forward to seeing what they can do.
As great as you guys ran all of last season, I'm over here, Martin. As great as you guys ran all of last season, how hard was it? How long did it take you to get over not being able to win that championship last year?
I don't think we're over it yet, and that's a good thing because we're hungry and we're going to try to go out and get it done this year. We worked hard last year. We had a lot of great moments, and feel like it slipped away from us at a bad time. So we're out for revenge, I guess you could say, this year, and we're working hard and we're motivated to go out and do a better job and make sure we can get further in the deal this year and hopefully win our first championship.
Let's go back here to Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Martin, did you see the Carl Edwards news coming at all? And with Daniel moving into that seat, how do you think that changes the dynamic of the Toyota effort?
Yeah, I didn't see it coming. No, I always thought Carl would be, he'd be like Mark Martin, race till he was 50 or so. Just definitely was surprised by it. But it's definitely going to change the dynamic, taking away one veteran guy that's been around a long time, has had a lot of success, and really had a lot to bring to the group and to the discussions that we had when we talked about competition in cars and how to go fast and do those things. So it's definitely going to be a little different. But again, I think I'm excited about it. We've got a lot of talent still in that group, and hopefully we'll be able to all pull together and make it happen again.
Other questions for Martin? Right here.
Martin, I don't know if anybody asked you about your crew chief when you first came in or not, but how instrumental has Cole Pern been to what you've been able to accomplish? Because you've worked with several crew chiefs coming up through the ranks.
Well, I've had more success with Cole than I have with anyone else. So, he's huge, obviously a huge part of what we've done. And just since, he was given the crew chief position on the 78 car, we've just gelled and we've had this chemistry that's worked really well for us. So crew chiefs are such a big part of what we do. Obviously, the whole race team is such a big part of what we do. You can't do it alone. Obviously it's a huge team effort, but a crew chief really leads the way for the whole team. The way the cars are built back at the shop, the way they're prepared, the way the team approaches the weekend, and how you get speed out of your cars is all really led and dictated by the crew chief and the engineers. So Cole has been a huge part of my career, getting to where it's at the last few years, obviously, and I think he's a guy that if we can continue to stay together, we can continue to get better. He's a really impressive guy. He's so motivated and so determined to be the best there is, and that's what it takes in this sport. So I'm very lucky to have him as a crew chief, and hopefully I'm holding up my end of the deal.
We'll go over here to David and then to Stan.
David Scott from the Charlotte Observer. Hey, Martin. What's going to be the most challenging thing about the new point system for you all to kind of get figured out?
I don't think it's going to be a huge challenge. I think it's we kind of understand where it is. I think everybody's excited about it. I know I am. The racing for points mentality kind of comes back into play a little bit as far as you get points throughout the whole season, and being able to take those into the playoffs is really exciting for us. With coming off a year like we had last year where we did a lot of great things and had a lot of high moments, a lot of bright spots that we could have gained those bonus points that would have helped us in the playoffs. That would have been huge. So I think we're excited about it. I'm sure there's going to be some things along the way that we didn't foresee that we'll need to figure out. But, all in all, looking forward to it. There's a lot of positives in it for us, and I think it'll be a benefit to our race team in particular.
All right, we'll wrap this session up with Stan.
Stan Creekmore with Outside the Box, Martin. You don't strike me as a driver who really sees any challenge. You're a top 10 finisher anyway, from the point standpoint. But in looking at it, which track do you think will be the one where you'll have to work even harder to get as many of those points as you possibly can get?
Well, I don't know. I think all of them are important. You want to score the most you can every single weekend. But we want to win every race. We want to win every practice. We want to qualify first every week. That's what we strive for. That's what we go for each and every weekend. So I don't think it's, we don't single anything out. I think for us, our race team individually. I think the Martinsville and what's the other one in there? I'm trying to think of the spot in the playoffs that we always kind of are right on the fence in, and you know, probably isn't the best spot in the schedule for us. So around Martinsville in the fall, Charlotte and Kansas, those tracks we need to perform better at than we have to make.
Wait a minute, you led all but like 6 laps at Charlotte in the 600, so that
in the first race.
Yeah, okay.
Second one. So need to be better in the fall at Charlotte.
Well, Martin, thanks for your time. Best of luck this year.
Thank you. Yep, no problem.
Thank you so much for spending time with us, and thanks for everybody. We'll continue on the session here momentarily.